Right, we are back. We're back. We are back. It feels like it's been forever, guys. It's been horrible. I'm not 100%, but I'm getting there. So, but a massive shout out to all of you who have sent get well soon wishes. It's been horrible, but it's been quite nice at the same time because I have kind of shut myself away from work and I've taken a rest and a break. So, but yeah, thank you to you all. We are back, and I didn't really want to come in straight away with a review video, but I'm going to kind of, what's the saying, kill two birds with one stone. Let's Resin have sent me two new bits of kit. One of them not so new, it's been available for a short period of time, but the other one is brand spanking new. So you know what I'm like, I'll give you an honest review on this channel. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I've tested these bits of kit for a certain period of time when I haven't. I keep it honest. I haven't even opened the boxes yet. This is, you know, I wanted to, and the plan was to do it before I got sick, but things happen, don't they? We're here. We're going to test these two bits of kit out. I hope you enjoy them. Let's see what they are. So, first of all, we have the new mixer. I know you're probably thinking, how many mixers do we need? I mean, guys, if you got one, you don't need this one, but I'm going to give it a bash. I'm going to give it a try and just see what it's like. Now, next of all, next of all, it sounds right, but it doesn't sound right. Next, we have the new resin bubble remover machine from Let's Resin. Now, this is supposed to be a very powerful bit of kit and very spacious, very spacious. It's a very different design to what we're used to. And many of you have already got one of these from a different company. Now, this couldn't have come at a better time. After what the previous company did to me, I can't go into all of the details, but most of you who have been following me saw that post on the community tab a month or two ago. I will not be affiliated with that company again, but I loved that machine. But now I have a new one that I can actually use without, you know, feeling a little bit, yeah, you know what I'm saying. This one I can be proud of using. So, first of all, we have the new electric mixer. Now, this is USB-C chargeable. Get the cable, you get two ones in the box, a big one and a small one. Bond paddles, mixing, stirring sticks, whatever you want to call them. There's two of them in there. We have the device itself. I haven't even turned this on, so I don't know. Well, it's turned straight on. I don't want it to turn on yet. Sometimes it's really good when doing review videos to read the instructions before you commit to filming, but there's no, what's the fun in that, eh? What's the fun in that? Oh, it's shiny. I like it so far. Right, we have a stand. I'll get it all set up to the side of me and you can see it all. What's that? Oh, look at that. That's smart. With the turn of a dial, you can adjust the height. I like that. I do like that. That is going to get covered in resin though, no doubt. And we have a base. It's not very weighty compared to others that I have used, but once you've got your mixing cup on there, it will weigh it down a bit. Silicone, nice. It's going to be that simple, isn't it? Just click that into the base, and there you have it. Now, as for the mixing ones, they just slot in like so. Okay, so this just rests. It's got like little slots, so you can have it facing. You can have it facing that way, or you can turn it and slot it in that way. It doesn't turn because it's locked in. And again, we have this dial to raise it up or lower it down into position. That's pretty handy. So let's talk about the device itself. We have an LED display. We have 3 buttons on the side. This is a direction button. We have a timer which goes up to 15 minutes, which is handy if you're mixing a deep pour resin. And here we have an AI button. Stands for artificial intelligence. Lots of companies are using this AI feature on some of their machines. I mean, it is clever. It's not just a timer. I mean, this sets the device for 4 minutes, but it also changes the direction every now and again of the mixing wand. Yeah, just to make sure your resin is a bit more streak free. So you've got 3 power settings at the push of the button once the device is on, and you've got your USB-C charging port there. So when you first turn the device on, what this will actually do is remember the previous setting you used when you last mixed. So that's pretty smart. So if I was to use the AI button and then I turned off the device, when I go to use that next and turn it back on, it's going to remember that I used that AI feature. The same as the speed. So if I turned off the AI, if I had it on the highest speed, turned that off, and turned it back on again, next time I use it, it will remember. It's got like a memory built in. I'm loving this shiny though. It's the small things. So yeah, I mean, it's going to do the job, isn't it? So, but we're going to test it out. And we're also going to, apparently it makes a beeping noise when it's finished with the AI feature. So we're going to leave that running just for the 4 minutes so we can hear that sound. Right, any moment now it should tell us when it is finished, hopefully. Okay, I know. Do I need to acknowledge this? Does it stop on its own? I've got a fridge. I've got a refrigerator at home, and if you leave the door open for too long, it makes exactly the same sound. Just thought I'd let you know. So yeah, it changes direction every 30 seconds, I noticed. It's got a, what was it, 1800 milliamp battery built in. It takes 3 to 4 hours to fully charge, but we're going to put it to the test anyway. And the only other thing I missed out is that this silicone base lifts out for easy cleaning, which is handy, and pops back in. But I think this is what we're all here for. Let's just lift that out with one hand. Hopefully nothing will fall out. So there we have the bell dome, or the lid, the top. We'll get that out in a moment. And inside here we have, I don't know, I really don't know. You're seeing this. What's in there? I presume it's the power supply. Yes, very well packaged. So we have power supply. I have a US plug. It's only available in the US at the moment. It is coming to the UK. I will let you know when, but luckily I have a converter to plug that into. And then we have the base. Let's get it all out. So this is the actual base. Inside there is the motor. There is your valve. So it sucks, the motor is inside the base. So it sucks the air out from the domey thing. And there's the power. So where's the vent out? It's going to be there. Okay, so it sucks the air through there inside the actual machine itself, and it vents out through the bottom. So we have a silicone base. It's going to stop your cups dancing around whilst the machine's on. We have our timer button, and I think, yep, it's also a push button as well. So that is the base, and we have a silicone gasket that goes all the way around the outside. That is going to be important to keep that spotless, guys, for a good seal. Otherwise it's not going to work properly. But it's pretty much the same for any vacuum machines. It is important, guys, that I do stress this is a vacuum machine. It's not a pressure pot. This takes the air out, and basically it removes the bubbles from the resin. A pressure pot basically puts pressure into the cylinder and it shrinks the bubbles down so that you can't see them basically. This is a vacuum chamber. So this runs in negative pressure, and I do believe this is actually more powerful. Yeah, this one goes down to negative 99 kPa, which is more powerful than the other machine that I reviewed once before. Again, I will not name that company. It's got a little bit more power to it. So as for the very spacious lid which sits on top, it's very, very thick and solid. It does look like a bell. And at the top here we have a handle for lifting it up and down off of the actual base. So yeah, I mean that just fits on to the base and then we power it up, but that has got a lot more space inside, and the good thing is it's flat. So I'm liking this already. Now this does, apparently after running, it auto vents, so you don't need to kind of release any pressure after it's been running. It does all that for you. So there it is in all its glory. I mean, you can see just how big that area inside is. Now, some of you may already have this auto mixer. Now, I never really did a review, well, I never did a review video on this because I wasn't too keen on the design, but these cups are huge and they fit inside perfectly, which is really, really good. That's a big cup. And then, you know, just to give you an idea of space, and these are the Let's Resin cups I normally use when I'm mixing my epoxy. Now, you could fit 3 of these in here. Again, it's important when mixing epoxy that you don't mix too much at once, because they can generate quite a bit of heat and, you know, flash cure. So it's handy if you're doing bigger projects to be able to get 3 cups in this at the same time. Now, all we need to do now really is get it set up. Let's Resin, I am loving this baby blue together. These are going to sit very, very nicely on my desk here. So we are going to be using the collab resin, the Let's Resin Daniel Cooper collab resin, which is a medium viscosity. Wanted to kind of keep it in the middle with a test like this. Obviously, if it's a lower viscosity, it's going to work a lot better. So here you can see the machine set up. Push the button for the dial to come up. I say for the dial to come up, I mean the display. So again, you turn this and it increases the time by 30 seconds each turn, or each notch, all the way up to 15 minutes. But again, 15 minutes is quite a long time for resin to be inside something like this, because it will begin to cure. So I don't think you're going to need that sort of time. We're going to go with 5 minutes just to see how it goes with the collab resin. So once you've set it, you just push the dial and it will just begin to vacuum out all of the air inside that chamber. And it's really quiet compared to the previous machine that I've used. It's not moving around as much as the previous machine that I've used did. Now this one stays where it's supposed to, and that will just increase or decrease to minus 99.9 kPa. And the good thing about this machine is that if you push the dial again, it will drop some of the pressure out, which helps with popping the bubbles on the surface. And if you hold the button down, what it will do is it will turn off the machine and then automatically release or allow the air back into the machine, ready to take the lid off. With the machine that I used before, you had a rubber valve at the back that you had to manually pull out. But this is quite a clever machine. It does it all automatically for you. The only thing that I will say with the vacuum chamber, I know Claire's going to touch on this when she does her video, I think she already has, is the worry of when you're lifting the lid or placing the lid back over, that it could knock the cup over. So you have to just always lift it upwards carefully and away from the cup. That's my only concern at the moment that I can see with this machine. Well, more issues could arise as we're using it. Let's find out. So again, for these tests, I'm going to be using the collab resin. This is a higher viscosity, which means thicker. It's a thicker resin than the standard Lech resin epoxy, which you're probably more familiar with. It comes in the bigger containers. So this is a slightly thicker resin. So I want to see how it works with this one. And I'm just going to mix up a total of 4 ounces because I want to use my little frog mold. So there it is, just over 4 ounces of resin. You can see there it's not been mixed. You can see that dividing line from the 2 parts ready to go. So we lower down the bit of kit before turning it on, like so. Then I'm going to hold down the power button to turn the device on, and it's already gone into AI mode, which is what I previously used. There's a little bit of a wobble there, but it's not going to go anywhere because it's locked in this part here. So I'm just going to leave that running and go into hyperlapse mode. Okay, I'm going to turn that off to stop the beeping. There we go. So it is always important when using an electric mixer to also scrape the cup. Now, one thing I have noticed with this particular stand is that the paddle doesn't go all the way to the bottom. I'd like to see it go down a little bit more, but I'm just going to leave that raised out of the resin for about a minute just to drip off any excess, and then I'm going to scrape the cup and just give it a quick stir. I want more bubbles in there. There's not enough bubbles in there for me to do a decent test on the debubbling machine, so I'm going to forcefully mix in some bubbles in there just to make it, you know, a good test. I'm just going around the whole sides of the cup and also the bottom, because I am a little, you can see the streaks coming off there. This is why it's really important, see those streaks, to do this even if you are using an electric mixer, because they don't touch the sides of the cup. And if you go pouring that without doing this, you're going to end up with uncured areas in your resin art, which you don't want because it's a waste of a whole batch of resin. So now I'm just going to mix in quite a few bubbles just to really show the vacuum machine working. So I'm going to lift off our lid and I'll show you the bubbles in the resin before. Got some black card here, hold on. There you go, you can see that a bit better now. I'm going to put that black card behind the machine as well so we can see the bubbles coming up a bit better. Again, lowering that lid down carefully onto the top. And I'm just going to set this for 5 minutes. And then we will go into hyperlapse. So you will see during that process I increased the time because there were still bubbles that were stuck on the bottom of the cup. And what I didn't want to happen was the machine come to the end of the timer, then release all the pressure. So then I have to basically restart again, because it can take around 2 minutes to reach maximum negative pressure. So by doing that, I'm also cutting down the time that the resin is inside the machine. So you can do that. I mean, I'd recommend just keeping an eye on your resin. I didn't realize it would do that. So yeah, keep an eye on your resin. If it's still not as bubble free as you want, just increase it a notch. And I think that added 30 seconds per turn. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty smart in itself as well. So I've got a couple of surface bubbles, but let's have a look. Again, lift off that carefully, and then we can inspect the resin. I mean, there's a couple in there, but it's definitely doing a very, very good job. Those surface bubbles I can just get rid of with some heat. Yeah, I mean, I'm super impressed with that for a first run. Super impressed. Again, just pop those surface bubbles with my torch or long nose lighter would be better. So that's ready to pour. So I'm just going to pour that into the mold, and we will be back for the demold. So as for the paddles, I intentionally left the resin on there just to dry to see how easy it would come off. But ordinarily, as soon as it's dripped off the excess, you would use something like an alcohol wipe to remove and clean the paddles. But we'll forget to do things and to clean things after we've used them. It just happens. But it is picking off. But just, yeah, definitely clean them up before the resin sets, as with any resin mixer, I suppose, just to keep it clean. But it is peeling off really easy, actually. I've had some that I've had to take a sharp craft knife to. It just weren't cleaning up, but these, just don't use anything sharp because that will scratch them, and then you'll have even more trouble cleaning it up next time. So I always find something that's made of wood works best. Even like a wooden stirring stick would be better. Clean up much quicker than using a pick like I was. Definitely easier. And as mentioned, for the mixer base, made of silicone. Really easy. So our frog is all cured and ready to demold. As always, guys, give the video a thumbs up, drop me a comment if you haven't subbed, hit that button for me, help the channel grow. Tell me what you think in the comments as well about the 2 pieces of kit. And let's see just how bubble free this is. I did have to pop a couple on the surface about 15 minutes after I poured. Come on. I'm so used to just making quick and easy jewelry pieces in my cabochon mold. I'm not used to making things in fiddly molds like this. Just, I hope I don't ruin the mold. There we go. Right. There's a couple in there. Well, I can see 3, 4, but that's mainly because the mold, they got trapped on the underside. I should really have used my small stick to manipulate those out. But I'm super impressed with that machine. The mixing machine, it's a mixer. The main thing was the debubbling machine. And it's a powerful, powerful machine. But I can always finish this off with something afterwards. Maybe add some of my glitter paper underneath. I do have a video coming of this. Some really, really good ways of using glitter in ways that we couldn't use glitter before. So keep an eye out for that video. It is coming soon. So yeah, I'm very impressed. Obviously we've got a couple of bubbles in there, but again, we did have a few in there, didn't we? Just for the test. So what do I actually think of these two pieces of resin tech? We'll start with the mixer, shall we? Which was kind of an unfair test on my part, user error. I should have used the bigger paddle, not the smaller one. The bigger paddle fits in this cup perfectly. I probably would have got a better, much better, or would have got a much better mix of my resin using that instead of the smaller one in that big cup. We learn from our mistakes, guys, I think. It's just one of those things. I was too excited to get the video filmed. Apart from that, I would suggest pausing again with any mixer, stopping the mixing halfway through, scrape the sides of your cup and then restart it, not leave it till the end like I did. So apart from that, the only thing that I would change about this device is the memory function, or not even so much the memory function. I would like to be able to turn on the machine and then select my function before the motor kicking in. The reason for this is that, I mean, I don't work with epoxy much as it is, especially deep pour epoxy. But if I was to use this for a deep pour on a high speed, for instance, and then I forget to lower the speed before turning off the device, say a week later I work on a different project with a higher viscosity resin, and I lower this down and turn on the device, it's going to kick in straight away at high speed, which is going to cause some resistance on the paddles. Then that is also going to introduce a lot more air bubbles into my epoxy. So that is the only thing that I would change. I'd like to be able to turn that on, select my function, and then push a separate button. Apart from that, guys, it's a really good bit of kit. I love the display, loving this new copper design and the baby blue, loving the simplicity, the ease. Yeah, it's a good mixer. It doesn't, I've tested mixers in the past that haven't got this slot design in the top, and the resistance, what's happened with some of them is the device itself turns in the stand, which can be a problem. So I'm loving that, the fact that it locks in and it doesn't turn. So all in all, I love the dial. It's a bit clicky, but I think over time that will probably, I don't know, click a little bit quietly, a little bit quieter, whatever, you get what I'm saying. Other than that, it's a really good mixer. Now for this, it is a beast. That additional power that I'm not used to makes a massive difference. The size, it's incredible. The only problem I can see is, again, possibly knocking over a cup, but we're all adults, we know. I think we'll make the mistake once and never again. But yeah, just lift it up and place it back down. But you know, designing something like this to have that amount of space inside, I think it's the best design that they could have gone for, to be honest with you. The dial, really easy to use, loving the clicking, loving the copper. The only thing that I would say is it's going to take time to get used to with the epoxy that you're using for the amount of time that's needed to set this to. Because again, if this counts down from say 4 minutes and then the machine basically auto vents, you then, if your resin isn't bubble free, you then have to add extra time, and it can take up to 2 minutes to reach full minus 99 kPa, and that 2 minutes can be a big thing. So I would say keep an eye on it, and yeah, definitely use that feature of being able to add on an extra 30 seconds if it's not quite ready, because you don't want it to get to the end, vent out the pressure or vent in the pressure, and then have to go through an additional 2 minutes that you know, we need that 2 minutes when working with resin sometimes. You don't want to flash cure. So yeah, that's the only thing really. It's a really powerful machine. Again, I think this is going to sell out really, really fast. So I can't find any other faults with this. It's quiet, it's spacious, it's good looking. And yeah, it does the job really, really well. So I think that brings us to the end of this. There's going to be lots more testing I'm going to have to do with these. It is early days still, but there's going to be so many videos out there on these. So just go and give them a watch. People might touch on things a bit more than what I have. It's always good to get other people's opinions before you decide if you want to commit to something like this. But all in all, I love it. It's my new beast. I like it. I'll be using these for every epoxy project. I know it's rare on my channel because I do use mainly UV resin, but even for UV resin, I can very, very quickly just pop a pot of UV resin in there and get the bubbles out really, really quickly. And I haven't got the risk of it flash curing with UV resin because it takes light to cure. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this little double tester with 2 bits of resin kit. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you've reviewed this and you've got a channel yourself and I've missed anything, also drop it in the comments. It would be really good, and that will also give other viewers the ability to go and check out your content too. So yeah, I will see you all for the next one. Bye for now.